Same thing with the Knicks. We have a good defensively minded team that's working together as a team well defensively. It's just we don't have the firepower right now offensively to go on big runs. We can't let any team get on a run on us. And that's why we've been winning most of our games. Not most of our games. That's why we won those 5 games. We didn't allow a team to get sustain a long run, and we kept ourselves close, and then we ended up pulling away once we ended up beating them down defensively. Hey, what's going on? Quis here from Sports Vibes TV. And in this video, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the upcoming game we have tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. But before I get into the game, I want to give you a quick injury update. Reggie Bullock will not be playing in the game tonight. So he's going to be out along with Alec Burks, Frank Nitti, and Obi Toppin. They're not playing as well. So I want to know if Kevin Knox is going to end up getting the start tonight. Let me know what you think down in the comments. They haven't released that yet. If you look at the Charlotte Hornets and the style of play that they implement on the court, they like to go small. You're going to see a lot of times where PJ Washington is going to be at center. They'll have Miles Bridges at power forward, and then they'll have a bunch of guards on the court with them, whether that be Lamelo, Rozier, Graham, and then also Gordon Hayward, you guard small forward. So Thibs has the option. He could decide to put in either an Austin Rivers or even Emmanuel Quickly, which I doubt based on his recent play. But he could decide to go small in order to keep up with the Charlotte Hornets, because with that rotation out there for the Hornets, anybody on the court that grabs a rebound is then able to push it and initiate the offense on the other side of the court. So Thibs is going to have to make that decision. Do we try to keep up with them in terms of playing a small ball style of play? Or is Thibs going to finally allow Mitchell Robinson to feast in the paint? You know, I would like to see Mitchell Robinson get some focus down in the paint, because then that would kind of slow things down for the Charlotte Hornets. Not that the Hornets play the fastest style of play, but if you're focusing on Mitchell Robinson and he's a beast in the paint, because we've seen him have moments where other centers can't really handle him, whether that be offensive rebounds, putbacks, alley-oops, etc. So if PJ Washington is going to be your only force in the middle, then based on what I've seen, Mitchell Robinson should be dominant for the entire stretch of the game, for the entire moment that he's in there. He's just going to have to focus on getting out to PJ Washington and not allowing him to shoot the three, because PJ Washington's 3-point percentage right now, he's shooting 38%. If you round it up, it's technically 37.9, but you round it up, it's 38%. So that's going to be a big factor into whether or not Mitchell Robinson is going to see time on the court, because he's had issues with Al Horford in the Thunder game. He had issues last night with Jokic. I won't say he had issues, but there's a couple plays where he didn't get out to contest the three as much as I would have liked. And if he's going to be on the court tonight, he's going to be in the same scenario with PJ Washington. So if he's not able to contest PJ Washington at the 3-point line and also stop him from attacking when he decides to, when Mitch goes out to close out, if he's unable to do that, he's going to force Thibs' hand, and Thibs is either going to have to go to Nerlens Noel, a player that I'm really not too fond of right now. He's not giving us anything at the backup center position. So I wouldn't want him to go to Nerlens Noel. He may move Randle and play Randle a little bit at center. Also, at the end of the Nuggets game, if you watched, he played Kevin Knox at center towards the end. Yes, it was garbage minutes, but you still saw Kevin Knox at center. So he may even, he doesn't like to change his rotations too much. But honestly, if you have PJ Washington out there, you could look to have Knox not as a center, more so as a power forward, I would hope. But if he wants to experiment, see if that works, there are options that Thibs has to combat this Charlotte Hornets offense. It's just, will Thibodeau be willing to change up his style? And as we've seen through the first 10 games, he does not look willing to adjust. Honestly, the most he's willing to adjust is at times he'll keep the hot hand in to end the game. That's as far as I've seen in terms of his adjustment with his rotations and how he's going to maneuver or manipulate his lineup. Yes, he's going to be forced to change it now because Bullock is going to be out. I just don't know if he's going to be able to, or he's going to be forced to change it so drastically. It all depends on how we're able to contain this Charlotte Hornets offense. I'm not going to sit there and act like they're an offensive juggernaut, but they've made some big improvements from last year. They're not relying so much on Devontae Graham. They brought in Gordon Hayward. He's playing pretty well. Gordon Hayward, I think right now is averaging 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. I would not have given him the money that the Charlotte Hornets would have did give him, but he's been producing so far. So, big ups to them, I guess. Terry Rozier, he's averaging 20 points. I would have liked a little bit more assists from Terry. A lot of people wanted the Knicks to trade for Terry in the offseason, but he's a scorer, but I still think he's more so that combo guard, somebody that's going to work better either with the ball in his hand as the primary scorer and not so much as a player that's going to be facilitating for his teammates. And you can see that with his assists. I mean, don't get me wrong. This team passes. I think they're top 5 in the league when it comes to passing or the amount of passes per game. I just don't think Rozier would have been that type of guard for us personally. So he's playing good for the Charlotte Hornets, and let's hope we can contain him. We're also going to see Lamelo Ball. He was a 3rd pick in this draft. We're going to see what kind of player he is. A lot of people wanted the Knicks to trade up and get Lamelo. Lamelo had a pretty good game. What was it, 2 games ago, I think? He had a triple-double, and, he's shooting okay. He's shooting 36% if you round up. It's really .356, but his form's still a little bit wonky. Field goal percentage, he's shooting okay at 43%. I would still like that to be a little higher too, but that's something for the Charlotte Hornets to work on him with. I would have liked Lamelo as a Knick, but I don't think we should have given up what it would have cost for us to move up to 3 in order to get him. So I would like to know what you guys think. Do you think, I know this is a winnable game, and I think this is a game the Knicks should win. Well, let me not say they should win. Let me back off a little bit on that statement. I think this should be a very competitive game. I think the Knicks, it may not be the best matchup for the Knicks because the Hornets are a similar team in terms of play style with the Nuggets, but I still think we should go out there and get this W. It should be a close contest. It shouldn't be a blowout for either team because I think both teams are similarly matched. I think when you turn in terms of starting lineup talent, I think the Hornets might have us a little bit, but when it comes to our bench, I still think we have a solid bench, and the bench just has to get it together between IQ, Rivers. If Knox doesn't start, then you have Knox. Nerlens Noel got to get better. It's this second unit that kind of lost us that Nuggets game. The starting lineup, they weren't up by the time the second unit came in. They was already down 6-7, but it's that second unit that let the game get out of hand, and it was out of reach, and our starting unit doesn't have the firepower to catch up like that. Think of it like, if you want to make a football analogy, it's like the Baltimore Ravens. They're not built to play from behind. They can stay with you, but if they get behind, they don't really have the wide receivers to really make big plays and score in bunches. Same thing with the Knicks. We have a good defensively minded team that's working together as a team well defensively. It's just we don't have the firepower right now offensively to go on big runs. We can't let any team get on a run on us. And that's why we've been winning most of our games. Not most of our games. That's why we won those 5 games. We didn't allow a team to get sustain a long run, and we kept ourselves close, and then we ended up pulling away once we ended up beating them down defensively. So if the Knicks can play that same brand of basketball in this game, I really expect us to come out with the victory. And at the end of the night, we should be 6-5. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Once again, I'm Quis, host of Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.